Okay. Can you tell me exactly what do you do in your work with your clients?
Basically, the clients come to me because they have a totally lack of joy and passion in their life, you know. They discover me through joy is your birthright to the name, actually, and then we are going into the topic. Yeah, why you are joyless? Why you unhappy? Oh, I miss a boyfriend. I miss a relationship. My lifestyle is not how I want it to be. And most of the times it's because of relationship, because it's very important for women.
Mm-hmm.
And then I help to build them a relationship with themselves, so to say, that they see themselves, that they start to want themselves, that they come into receiving mode, because they block, so to say, the love from outside, because they have that masculine shield.
Okay, that's interesting. What are the main problems of these girls, of these women?
The main problems is that they block love completely because they are not in a receiving mode. They are always going outside with their energy, you know, but they are blind to see a potential partner that is a great fit. They are looking just for something what is internally happening. So they are emotionally unavailable for themselves, meaning they have no relationship with a inner woman, with their feminine essence. So they have no relationship inside, and therefore they attract outside as well men who are unavailable, because it's like the reflection from their inside world.
Okay, and how do you exactly help them to get into a receiving mode? I think that's interesting to know.
Yeah, I help them actually by a very mental concept. There is like we start with the head. Different emotions have different frequencies, you know, and most of the clients, they look actually for a relationship because they associate with the joy and love, but they are not in that frequency because they are thinking all the time. They think, oh, why do I don't have that? They are in a frequency of lack. Okay, so I give them kind of that list of the emotions, so to say, so they realize actually, how can I attract a man or a relationship that should bring me joy and love when I'm never in that frequency myself, you know? So they make like, okay, so I really have to look for something that I come into that frequency. And this is then the step where we're going into, what is actually your work? What is your life purpose here? What are you attracted to? What do you do for your body? What do you do for your sensuality? And then they understand, okay, I actually neglected that completely because I was just focused to bring man or relationship me joy and passion. And then with the time they understand what it's meant by it, and this is then a little bit action-based start, actually, to change the frequency to joyful actions. Joy is not reached by thinking, joy is reached by action. So dancing, meeting friends.
Okay. So it's kind of the same approach, because I also tell to my clients to take action, to talk to girls, to start learning new things, to start finding their purposes. So I think there's a commonality in that.
Yes. Yeah, when you do it like that, there's a commonality. It's really building the relationship first with themselves, right?
And after that, looking for a partner, or at the same time?
It's going parallel, you know. When the energy inside changes, and for the women, the language is more about when I'm attractive for myself, when I'm getting into my radiance, because we are about the energy and the emotion that we are radiate. When we really have that happy life with ourselves, we attracting different kind of man, you know. So to say, it's making yourself available, going out into new situations, and it's happening anyway. Then that men are looking for you because you see yourself, you want yourself, you cherish yourself, And it's happening when you're making yourself available, so to say.
Which kind of man your women are looking for once they have learned to drop into their bodies and to live fully carefree?
The women that I coach, they want a man who has the same presence that they have for themselves. Presence is for sure a really strong word. A good relationship to their own emotional guidance system, meaning like that they can guide themselves home emotionally when something is happening. This is absolutely important. And then the really masculine traits like protection, penetration, and presence.
Okay.
So they want
interesting. The three P's, no?
Yeah,
protection, penetration, and presence. What is protection?
Protection means, in that sense, more containment. Most women want to be contained. I mean, like owned, so to say, by a man. You know, they want that he radiates that kind of aura. This is my woman. We are together.
Yeah, masculinity has this component of containing, of holding, right?
Yes.
Okay, and penetration, it's only about sex, or there is something else? There is something deeper in that?
Penetration is, I understand, not just sexually. I mean, like a woman has, first of all, to allow penetration in herself, in the sense of even life force, the breath of life into herself. She has to come into the receiving mode. She wants naturally to be devotional to something higher than her. That's the first thing. And then she projects it on a man too, that she wants to be devotional to. And there is a fear of penetration in women sometimes. Maybe they had suffered from sexual abuse in their childhood. Maybe they experienced other abusive situations with men, even also with women, where they cross totally their boundaries. So it's a fear that someone comes to you or into you even. So there is a lot of widening your frame, so to say, that you feel safe in yourself, and then step by step you allow that someone comes closer to you. Can you?
Actually,
does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. And we often, as men, forget that many women have been abused in their pasts, and we lack this empathy of understanding women on this level. Which kind of abuses usually women experience in their life besides sexual abuses?
They experience emotional abuse from their mothers. This is the so-called mother wound, so to say, that a mother expects her daughter to be her emotional protector, so to say. The mother expects the daughter to save her, to rescue her, to support her. From the woman, that they throw up their emotions on the women, and the child has to hold her mother. This is very then a traumatic experience for women. And also from the father, it's like sexual abuse or verbal abuse, and from the society even, that rules are that you have to follow rules of society, of your work, of school, that really cross your boundaries, to participate in something that you really didn't like, because you thought, oh, I really have to do that, otherwise I'm out of the game. So there is that huge pleasing part in women, where they have that kind of shield then around them.
And sometimes it happens that women, for this reason, fall into a victimhood mindset.
Yes, because they have been victims. They have been victims, so to say. I mean, if you look at if you go back to the spiritual development of people, we are all in a way have experienced life happening is to us. You know, we were starting to visit school. Life was happening to us. We had not so much choice. We were not aware that we had a choice. You know, there are traumatic situations in our childhood that makes us forget our creational power, that we have a choice. So to say, we pass all a part of a victimhood stage. And later on, we have to unravel that. We have to unwind that and come back to our core. That is joy, that is passion, that is love. But it's very important to touch that depth of victimhood, because otherwise, when you're not touching that ground, it's always like a subtle layer around your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to have that recognition, yes. And once I have experienced feeling of powerlessness, once I have experienced that sadness and grief, and when you start to hold that as a woman, that it is a human experience and you're not feeling shame about it, this is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
That you lose the shame for it, you get really a power. And the man, for example, feels, if we feel shame for that part, that we have been a victim, you know. And this makes sometimes a very uncomfortable situation, because we try to hide it, that we have been a victim. There's a lot of shame concept in many women.
Mm-hmm.
And this makes sometimes women very excited. And the moment you say, yes, of course, I have been a victim and I even felt shame of it, I tried to hide it, I did everything to suppress it because I didn't want to see it. Then you start to claim that power, that authority, and this is also something that makes women then safe to a man, and vice versa, you know, like. But first you have to be holding that in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And why, in your opinion, it is so difficult for women to accept that they have been victims?
I think it's socially very not so much accepted. There's a lot of judgment, even if there is some kind of story. Yeah, you know, victims, empowerment, say help them. When you are really in the situation that you realize I have been a victim, it's not so easy to deal with. It's needing a strong holding from yourself, that you say, okay, it was unpleasant and I experienced that, and this story is now finished, but I still hold it. It's really a contact to the inner child, that it might be that it never disappears. It's a part of you, because it has been a very strong pain for a lot of women.
Okay, and how can we as men help women to overcome these traumas about being abused and this victimhood mindset, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think a man cannot support a woman to really overcome it, but it can be very present for it. It is, especially when you are a woman who has experienced victim stories or abuse, it's very important that you start to hold yourself, to make yourself comfortable, that you guide yourself home to that inner protection, to that safety. When a man steps into a role of a savior, it will be very, very unsexual with the time. It's the erotic killer. And some men who are not very mature in their presence, they want to help that woman. It's a natural instinct, even, because there is the protector instinct, but it makes the woman who has experienced that and that didn't heal that completely, makes her weak. She loses her strength, she loses her energy, because it's a secret desire of a victim to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is the point, this is the point of decision where it becomes codependency or not.
Yeah.
So it's better to stay a little bit outside of that story, being present, but not mingle too much with that energy.
Okay, so being a savior kills sexual polarity.
Exactly, because then the man becomes slowly but slowly kind of a mother or kind of a father, and the woman is stolen of her own development to hold herself, to learn to hold herself. And this is absolutely crucial for a woman's development, from going from a victim to a grown-up woman, that she learns to hold her victim story, that she learns to implement that it's a part of her, it's a part of me. Yes, I experienced that, and I hold myself in that.
Mm-hmm.
My crying baby, my abused baby, so to say, I hold it. And this is, otherwise you cannot come into that radiance frequency as a woman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we cannot save women. Women, they need to save themselves first, and then step into the land of man and meet man, right?
Yes, exactly. Because also a woman that has experienced some abuse, she wants, very inside of her, she wants to have a grown-up man-woman relationship. This is actually what she's longing for. It's natural. It's very natural.
Okay, so you said penetration, providing, and presence.
Mm-hmm.
What is presence?
Presence is more an internal process. It's really creating a space, creating availability that the person in front of you can feel what she feels, that the woman feels what she feels, that she can let her emotions run through her, and you're just standing in a presence without reacting on it, without doing so much. It's just kind of observing, holding energy.
Mm-hmm.
that delivers to a woman the feeling I'm seen. And this is one of the most meaningful and desirable wishes of a woman, to be seen. And this is great when a man can hold a little bit of presence for a woman, and she's doing her own thing then, The man stays in her space, stays in his position, and the woman in his kind of a hug, if you want to put it in practical words, she can let her emotions run, and he's kind of hugging her with that presence. This is ideal for a woman where attraction and energy can still flow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you touched a very interesting point. Women want to be seen. Yeah. And I have a question for you. Why women want to be seen so much? And you personally, how do you feel when a man sees you?
To the first part of the question, why is it important for a woman to be seen? And here I touch really a spiritual ground, also from a man. Also, a man wants to be seen. Our true being wants to be seen. Our core wants to be seen. And a woman stands for the meta part of this life experience. She stands for the earth, she stands for the planet, for the body. And there is kind of a natural devotional aspiration from a woman that a power higher than herself sees her, that holds her in a gaze of constant love. And this is also for men very important, that there is, maybe call it God, call it the universe, call it, I don't know, whatever you want, that we are seen every time with everything that we're experiencing right now. There is a gaze of love upon us. It doesn't matter if we feel weak. It doesn't matter if we feel sad. it doesn't matter maybe we feel passionate or not, but there is like a constant seeing, there's a constant protection from the world. And so this is in a woman within that desire is very natural for a woman. And the second part was to be seen as a woman. There are different stages in the maturity or in the growing part, in the growth of a woman. First, you start with I want to be seen. It's a lot about the outer physical kind of thing. You dress yourself up. It's more a very outwards orientated kind of desire. I want to get validation. I want to approval of men, of other people. And this is the first stage. And it's nothing wrong with that. It's just a stage of maturity, so to say. It's more the maiden, the girls kind of thing. Oh, he sees me. Does he see me? Does he gives me some response? And first is the motivation really outwards orientated. But with the time, the desire to be seen moves much more inwards. And this means like I want to be seen for who I am inside, for my character, for the energy that I'm holding, for the radiance. And this is then the next stage of a woman where you're like holding your emotions already, that you can provide an emotional safety ground for a man, where it's not about how you look specifically, it's more about what you radiate. And this is then you get to be seen, and you want to be seen for who you are, but it's not that seeking anymore. It's happening natural because you see yourself, you, like we talked before, you implemented your victim stories, you hold yourself, all that what you have experienced. So you have had that experience. I'm seeing myself for all that I am. And then man and the outer world sees you too for what you are.
Yeah, so it's very easy for us to appreciate the beauty of a woman, the aesthetic beauty. It's a bit more difficult to see the woman on the inside. Okay, so we have to develop this kind of intuition to do that. What would you advise men to develop this intuition?
I think it's first of all a little bit. It's about growth. It's about really giving oneself time and clarity. What kind of woman men want, what kind of depth they are able themselves to provide, and what they want from a relationship. Not everybody wants a soulmate relationship, so to say. Some people are fine with watching TV together and meeting friends in the weekend for 3-4 beers. Yeah, then it's useless. I mean, like I for example coach women who really want all and they want more. There is some kind of exquisiteness in it, and if you have that desire that you really want that depth of relationship where you're just inspiring each other to grow, the desire will totally pull you to itself, and you get more intuitive. You learn to see, that woman was not really reliable in that. Then she blamed me for this and that. You maybe observe that she's looking around to others to get approval, something like that. And it's being very present and a little bit observing. And for the women, it's the same, giving that time and gaining clarity. Who is the person in front of you? Who is that person really? What is the desire? What is the challenge? What is the vision for a life?
Okay, so you would suggest men to develop patience and take time to understand the woman. Is it correct?
Yes, I would definitely say that, taking time. Yeah, because it's, I mean, like the more experience to have, the more you already can read it, so to say, in the energy, or for example, you go with a man to a restaurant and he's ordering 3-4 beer. It's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, but if yourself having a more healthy lifestyle, it could be a problem, or when. I mean, there are a lot of things to observe and to see where's real compatibility. Love is not enough. Love is not enough. Love is a reflection of the outer world and we carry it inside. It's also about compatibility. Do we have the same vision? Do we want kids? Do we want just a love affair? Do we want a little bit more that settled life? Are we both into totally growth, or someone is sufficient to have a 9-to-5 job? And there's nothing wrong with that. But just seeing a little bit in which direction the ship could go to.
Yeah, I also observe her attitude and her behaviors around food. Now that I am into fitness back again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want my girl to eat good food. If she eats McDonald's or garbage, or if she drinks too much, or if she takes too much drugs, that's a no. I mean, I can have an adventure with her if she is beautiful, fun, if she makes me laugh and all of that, but I won't be excited to commit to her if she doesn't look after herself. Do you feel like the same with men?
Yeah, I feel like the same. I mean, now that I also invested so much in finding clarity in myself, it is really much also about the life rhythm, like when a man sleeps in till 11, 12 o'clock. This is, for example, very difficult for me. I could not deal with that. With all my love, I can love someone spiritually and maybe having a love affair with that person for a time being. But then it's like, I mean, he has a choice and I have a choice. And yeah, there are some things like life and day rhythm, like food, and also community and friends, like how you deal with that. Is that a man that really has a social kind of circle, or is he really on himself? For me, this is, for example, very important to have friends, that he has his friends, I have his friends, that we have common friends. Also some kind of vision, clarity for his own growth. Because I'm also very growth oriented. I mean, like, I want more, always more. I want to expand in a natural way. I'm not about achieving so much, but I want to grow. I want to unfold. I want to get bigger, so to say.
Okay.
And I would need a man. I need a man who has also the same value to get bigger, to expand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's dive a little bit more into that. So you like a man who wakes up early in the morning, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And who conquers the day.
Yeah.
You like a man who is growth oriented and maybe who has a mission, a purpose. What else do you like in a man? In your man?
I like presence a lot. Presence is very important for me, a specific kind of calmness in situations. I mean, I can be sometimes very emotional, and I prefer that when a man is, able to hold me, like in a present kind of way. This is very important for me. Also some guidance, traits, capacities to make a decision, some structure and organizing skills I appreciate a lot. And and also like care for their own body care and health.
Yeah, I agree with you. Super important.
Yeah. And also like a specific sense for elegance and beauty, but it's just my person. I love beauty. I love aesthetics, so to say. It's very important that I live in a surrounding where I feel great and where it's beautiful. And a man who has not that eye for that could be difficult for me. But it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong, it's nothing wrong. I want to emphasize that it's just a kind of a taste of a person, right? And some people have more practical perspective and preference. So
Mm-hmm. You don't like the caveman type kind of man.
no, I mean, like, for me, aesthetics trumps practicality in the sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a certain kind of a frequency that has maybe to do also with money, that has to do with providing some quality. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's natural at a specific kind of development that we are not going just for, for survival skills, but also like then more to beauty, more to quality. I think it's a natural development in people.
Okay. Yeah, you touched a point which is interesting. The soulmate relationship. Can you explain a little bit more this concept?
Soulmate relationship. A lot of people nowadays, they want in a partner not just someone to hang out with, to spend some quality time. They want a certain kind of connection. They want a connection emotionally, energetically, physically, spiritually. And this is a desire what has also been born in my generation, in the generation before, and is continuing, that we have all as a collective the desire to meet each other deeply for who we are, maskile as naked. And it's, you read so much about it on social media, for example, soulmate relationship, attract your soulmate, but it also takes some effort, some investment, because you can't just attract your soulmate when you are meeting your own soul first. You really have to ask yourself the important questions about your soul, meaning, in practicality, what is your passion? What are your values? What are you believing in? What is really meaningful? What matters to you in this life? What is that? What really you say, like, I really want that. I really have the desire to experience that. The desires of the soul, and then really also going for that, really doing the work, embodying it, becoming that version of your soulmate inside yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can attract someone who is your soulmate, because you found your own frequency.
Because you found clarity.
Yes, you can say it like this perfectly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and what would you say to a man who thinks that meeting this kind of woman is not possible? Because I meet these kind of people who think they have, no value to offer to a woman. What would you advise to them? What would you tell them?
I totally believe that every man and every woman has something to offer. It's every person, every man and woman has a specific quality that is very unique. So I would really say, then really go and look for it. I'm 100% sure there is something for you that is your kind of thing, your frequency, your niche, or your taste of yourself, where you feel comfortable with yourself. And when you say I don't have that, then you haven't looked good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this again needs kind of that internal side and really looking for it. Most people haven't asked themselves the question, like, what does bring me joy? And we are coming back even to action terms. What does bring me joy? What I'm actually good in? What really makes me passionate in life? And when you approach that as a man with that questions, you definitely find an answer. It's impossible that you find not.
Okay, thank you. It was beautiful. So tell me more about what makes a woman a great woman. So what is the woman we should look for as men, in your opinion?
Well, if you are a great man and you look for a great woman, there are specific grades, and it starts really with
ourselves.
With ourselves, yes. So I think it's also naturally happen in a way. But if we are on the development ourselves, and I mean, like, I think it's a constant development. I mean, like, there is some authority and there is always a growth part, at least when I talk about myself. A great woman has learned to guide her emotions back home, that she brings herself into alignment when she's feeling off. She can communicate in an honest way to her man what's going on with herself. She can say, hey, listen, I need some time. I'm really kind of off and it's not really personal. So you take your time, or maybe it's the way to communicate with your partner about that, or with the man. Even in a dating process can be possible that you give some bit of an insight, what is kind of giving an information, because we are all growing. You have activations, you have triggers all the time, and sometimes it can be very serving when you give bits of information, that you guide yourself emotionally, that you have an emotional capacity to hold yourself, that you have touched also your dark emotions, hate and revenge and jealousy, that you know that you have that, the capacity for, so to say, the dark side, for your childhood stories, and also then the capacity to choose love over and over again. In yourself and also with your partner, because men are very imperfect as well as women. You know what I mean? Can we allow ourselves to meet each other as a really imperfect humans? I mean, like, we have weird stuff sometimes going on, like, it's very, can we again and again choose love? And this makes a woman great when she's attempting again and again to open her heart to her man, to the world, that she's not collapsing into her old victim story, but she's like taking a breath and coming back to herself and is meeting the world again with an open heart.
Okay, you said something really interesting. A great woman is a woman who is able to bring back the emotions home. It's a beautiful metaphor. So I feel like it's kind of being able to find a resolution, and not to be way too emotional. Is it right? Is it wrong?
Yes, I think you say it perfectly, in the sense of, there's a difference between that I have my emotions running through my body or through my kind of frame, and I know these are my emotions as a woman. I have that awareness already. So I know I'm the owner of my emotions. I'm responsible for it. So I have already this responsible and communicated to you what's going on with me, or I show myself, or that I'm not aware and I'm throwing it up on a man, because I maybe have not learned to hold my crying baby, to hold myself. And a lot of women do that because they have not learned it, and it's something about to learn. I myself can include myself that back in the days I did not know so much about it. It's a step of awareness and learning it, and learning to guide yourself home. And especially to really understand, I am the feeler of my feelings. I am the owner of my emotions. This makes a woman safe for herself, for men, and even other women.
Yeah, but still men are responsible for their actions, I think. I mean, women are responsible for everyone is responsible for his or her own emotions, but we are always responsible for our own actions too.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for women, it's the same, I think. But for men, it's more the action kind of traits that is described as be more masculine, right? That's what you mean.
Exactly, yes. And what do you mean with choosing love? Okay, women should choose love. What's the alternative?
Fear. I mean, like, if you really zoom up all the emotional states and experience together, there's just love or fear. And with fear, there's included shame and guilt, anxiety, overwhelmment, powerlessness. Yeah, feelings like that, shame and guilt, so to say. And love starts with, okay, I accept that. I accept that what's going on. Let's see what's happening. Let's give it time and space. Let's explore that. Kind of, it's you moving yourself to love, And maybe Nico, there's situations where we get triggered of someone, of another person, of a man, of a woman, and there is like that emotional, like something happened. I feel so much hate and jealousy, and you have that moment where you think, oh my god, I fucking hate that so much, and you have that emotional experience to the upward spiral of the emotions, right? So how do you deal with that then? Do you stay in that? Are you really like blaming the other one or shaming yourself? Like blaming would be, why did he do that? What's happening? I mean, he's a complete asshole. He's just so stupid. It's the blaming or the shaming, like, oh my god, I was just so like this and that, But do you stay in that? Or do you really say, okay, let's give it a second? First of all, I allow myself to feel what I'm feeling, and I'm like, okay, we have here something going on, There is something going on with me. And then I'm creating some space for myself, so to say, like giving myself relaxation, acceptance that there is something going on with me. There is something going on. It makes me highly emotional. I feel it. And then slowly with the self-soothing, I come back to love. I come back to my original state. And this is a really aware and conscious process or even also, of course, in a man too, but the strategy might be different, is that? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a few things I love in women. Okay, and you can tell me your opinion on that. Okay, so what I found arousing in a woman is her ability to say sorry when she realizes she was wrong. She said something wrong. I find it extremely attractive. I love girls who don't have a big ego. That signals high self-esteem, willingness to be vulnerable.
Yes, why not? Why not saying sorry? Nothing is wrong with that. Yeah, I agree.
And some women have kind of troubles to do that.
Yes. I agree, because sometimes we have a hard time with that we are not perfect, so to say, and we are so easily shaming ourselves for making something wrong or being a failure anyway. And then a sorry can be very hard for women, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's true. But with the time, I think like you really learn that it's not about, it's a really masculine system to judge everything to be a failure, mistake, But when you're coming more, when we women come more into that feminine kind of essence, there is arising such a naturality, more in the sense of we are growing. What can I do? Of course, I make things that are really not in alignment. Of course, I make things that are happening to me. I was not aware. I was not present enough for my man. I was not present enough for me. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And then high sex drive. She's curious about exploring new things with me. If she doesn't have this kind of openness to explore her sexuality, the relationship is more likely to last less because she's not in touch with her inner goddess.
Well, in that aspect, I personally find that men sometimes expect a little bit too much from a woman. What we talked in the beginning of our talk, there a lot of women, the most women I work with, have some traumatic experience with sexuality. The feminine body is extremely shamed. We are facing so much anti-advertisement about our bodies that a lot of women just have so much shame about their bodies, even if they, have that kind of perfect body in society eyes. It's internally that we have so much shame. We have not so much contact with our bodies. And this makes it difficult to access the sexuality outside with a man when we have not claimed the sexuality within ourselves. And sometimes it needs more time and patience and understanding that a woman needs more time to develop that in herself, even when she might be already in a relationship, that she has her own development parallel to relationship going on, that she starts to touch herself, that she starts to get sexual with herself, even like helping herself, like getting to know her vagina, getting to know her whole body. A lot of women didn't have that experience when they not consciously choose for a course or a coach or whatever. Because it's not taught to us. It's not taught to us. And I think sometimes to men too, there is missing a little bit a teaching how to touch a woman, how to approach her. When we go back to old Egypt, for example, there were priestesses who taught men and women how to love the other kind of gender, and how to get sexual with yourself, that you get to know your body, your desires, that you know how to touch yourself. So I think it's sometimes needed to have a little bit, giving a woman a little bit of time, or maybe motivating her to do some course, or really being open about the desires of the man side, and the woman, most of the women, are interested in that too, but hadn't had the chance or something like that.
Yeah, I also believe that men are sometimes way too focused on the sex part of the relationship instead of seeing the woman for what she truly is, because there is a lot of sexual shame in men, and we have this kind of issue.
You have the two as men, sexual shame, and we have to, I think, is this especially our generation, we got confronted the last decade so much with porn, with really kind of a very fast-driven, hard, masculine kind of approach to sexuality, where it's very outcome and result oriented. How often you came, and oh my God, you fucked me so good, and blah 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 blah. But this is really just a part of the whole game. There is so much sexuality and sexual energy before that we can enjoy what is really emotionally nourishing and energetically nourishing to our souls. And this part is for women very, very, very important, and it's a service from the man to a woman to create that space as well.
Yeah, and it's totally missed by porn, which is highly visual.
Yes,
and that's it. Yeah, I agree with you.
And like porn has sexuality is about emotions. It's about also to touch the body, to touch the heart, And porn is very masculine. It's very superficial. It's not it's not reality what people really desire for. They think that they like it for a specific kind of phase in their life, but there is a soul's desire to connect deeper. It's a naturality.
What would you advise to a man who is a bit addicted to porn?
I would advise to get some help, to really work on with a coach, to be honest, to unravel what kind of drama might be even behind that. And sometimes it's just missing knowledge. It's just that you never had kind of that introduction to a healthy masculine sexuality. When you grow up in a family where there was not so much emotional exchange and flow and emotion and hugging and sweetness and care, it can be hard. And sometimes it's just missing knowledge, I find. Reaching out, I would advise.
Yeah. And that's what we want, actually. We want cuddling, we want love, we want all of that.
All of that, yeah. I think really that men and women want in the end the same.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yes.
Also, I find it very attractive when she remains kind of cool when something goes wrong, when she doesn't look her kindness of spirit. Okay, let me explain you. So I had chlamydia recently. I don't know how I got it. Maybe it was during a threesome I had. Maybe not. I don't know. I had to tell to around 7-8 girls that I had unprotected sex with. I had to tell them that I had chlamydia. I asked the sorry to all of them, even though maybe they were them who gave it to me. Anyways, I asked sorry. I told them to do the test. And it was interesting to see how the girls reacted to this news. And the most attractive girls to me were the ones who acted cool and kind. The girls who didn't flip out. The girls who asked me how I am. I was feeling not good. And some girls didn't ask how I felt. I didn't need to be seen, but still, it's nice to ask.
Yes, I mean, this is very interesting. Which kind of reactions did you then get, right? I mean, like some women could interpret it, hey, wow, that's very correct, doing that, to be so responsible, to inform, to give the information. And the other person is like, oh my God, how could he do that? Oh my God, what is he kind of a man, I mean, like, there's a lot of diversity then also in the kind of consciousness state of a woman. How much she expects also a man to be perfect. I personally, when I talk about myself, I expected men in my past way too much to be perfect, in the sense of I was allowing them not so much mistakes, or like, I would not call it a mistake, but I had high expectations. But what can you do? I mean, it's we make some actions, and sometimes they are going different as we expected. So how hard we women are with ourselves, the same hard we are with a man in the opposite as well. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we are so hard in the internal talk with ourselves, and this we do with other people as well. And this is sometimes, could be kinder, I think. Could be kinder.
And a couple of girls started blaming me and making me feel ashamed of my actions. And I was feeling bad, and I did something wrong. I could have took the condom, but I felt like they were not taking enough responsibility for their own choice of fucking me without the condom. We had sex together, come on. I didn't tell them this, but I was thinking this.
Yes, I get completely your point. It's a good example for that, how people deal differently also from the level of consciousness and kindness to ourselves. I mean, this breaks down on that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks down on that, how strict we are, women, with ourselves, and then we treat others the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
It was a long interview. Thank you so much for your...
Time has flown.
What?
The time has gone very fast.
Yeah. I could talk with you for hours, but
Yes.
our time is over. How can people reach out to you, Michaela?
In the moment, my new website is built up, so please reach out to me via Instagram, like joy, subline is subline, your subline birthright. Michaela Notdurft, maybe you can link me, something like that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm on YouTube, have some videos, and on Facebook. So this is my contact, and I will be happy to answer questions, or just reach out to me. Okay,
women, reach out to her, reach out to Michaela. Thank you again for your time, and see you soon, maybe in Berlin or Lisbon, who knows.
Yes, thank you so much for the talk, Nico. I totally enjoyed it. It was a pleasure, as always, to talk with you. Great flow, great man. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
You weren't the boy I thought I knew. Maybe I was blind, I was young, I didn't have a clue. You were the topic of my lunchtime. The door, the girls about a chance, and got a sound when you didn't text back.